Hi folks, JP here from the podcast. Just to let you all know that the podcast is sponsored by AB Entertainment, and the AB stands for Mr. Alec Beveridge. It's a DJ and entertainment business. Alex is on Facebook and Instagram, and you can hit him up through the WhatsApp for any bookings on 07845 746 092. And also folks, the podcast has taken on a new partner, and we're partnered by MCM Framing Services and Hoops Memorabilia. If you want any jerseys, or if you've got any memorabilia sitting around you want framed or anything looked after that way, contact John Mullaney, and you can get him at johnmullaney0971@gmail.com, or contact him on his mobile 07835 072 582. And here at the Unrestricted View, we hope you're all enjoying the content, and if you are, please like and subscribe. It's free to do so, and also share amongst your Celtic family as well. Hail, hail from all of us. Good evening and welcome back to the Celtic Unrestricted View. It's myself, JP, and it's Monday night. It's the Dial In Talk to Tims. Joining me this evening, my good man, Mr. Ryan Clifford, and Mr. Alan Stalling. Alan, good evening, mate. Hope you're well. You're smiling. Must mean one thing. You've had a nice weekend.
Aye, always smiling. Hope you guys are well. Hope everyone in the chat's well. Quiet weekend. Nothing really much. A lot of watching the TV, spending time with family, and staying up like night hawk. And Saturday night you watch Celtic at the most unusual time I think I've ever seen them. So I slept in a wee bit Sunday morning, obviously, but it was definitely worthwhile to sit up and watch. I was rather impressed with a few performances, to say the least. So yeah, happy days.
Good stuff, mate. It's good to see you also. Ryan, good to see you, mate. You're smiling. Nice weekend, pal.
I was all right, mate, but hungover yesterday, but it was all good, mate. It's a bad thing, that I'll call it. But we all do it. Well, no it's all, but somebody's there. But I know, like you say, Alan says, a good performance at the weekend, 4-0. So it was good to get a few goals and see some players get some minutes in the legs as well. So obviously Casper was there as well, so good to get him on the door. So yeah, all in all, good weekend, mate. But it's back to it now, Monday, back to it, mate. So hope you're well as well, and everybody else tune in.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a quick weekend, isn't it? Is it just me, or is it? I just think the weekends disappear. I don't know if it's because obviously my wee boy's off school, obviously, so it's the summer holidays, and I feel as if when he's at school, the weekends take a wee bit longer. Maybe that's as well because we've got football and other things keeping us occupied. But just now, I feel as if the weekends are just disappearing. Feels as if you get to Friday and then before you know it's Monday morning again. It's as if you've just blinked and missed it, Alan. But as you said, mate, felt like a night hawk on Saturday night. I was out for a few refreshments with my dad and some friends, so I was home, went for a wee quick nap, set my alarm, get back up to to watch a game, and yeah, mate, it was obviously, as the banner says there, Celtic 4, DC United 0. I know it's only pre-season, but it's good to see us actually play some really nice football on what looked like a very difficult pitch they had to play on, Alan.
Yeah, definitely. I think I was one of the only ones anywhere on this radius that was alcohol free for this weekend. So I'll save myself up for the next few weekends. But no, it was very enjoyable. The pitch, you seen it right away. There was patches, including the centre circle as well. It looked as if it had been replaced. Look, there was squares cut out all over the place and just patched up. So, but no, it was definitely nice to see a lot of the B team as well. Whereas we're trying to bring in a few of the B team. Seems like our neighbours across the city are kind of summoning their B team like TikTok Todd into their B team. So it's nice for us to bring some in instead of putting some out.
100%, mate. 100%. You said that very elegantly there. Well put, actually. TikTok Todd. It's a wee bit of a tongue twister at this time on a Monday evening, but I'm glad you got there, big man. I really am.
Aye, just about.
Ryan, obviously you were out, but you managed to catch obviously the kind of bulk of the game and the highlights of the game and all the kind of main talking points, which is good because I know how you like your Muhammad Ali and you'd have been having a good time at that time when the game was on. So, but it's also good that you caught all the kind of main points. And like I says to Alan there, it's good to get a good result as well because normally when we get away normally in pre-season, I know the result's not an important thing you look for, but it's we normally get a bit of a doing in some of the games. So, and we don't turn up, but it was good to see some of the mainstream 11 that would play most weeks. They look as if they're in a good place. They look as if they're very, very fit at this stage of pre-season and only going to get fitter as we go.
Yeah, obviously, I think in terms of the opposition, I don't think DC United, in terms of maybe quality-wise, they'll be one of the better teams we'll play against this season, but they're obviously into their season, so they should have looked fitter than this, but I didn't think they did. I did, for what I did see, it did look like we're a bit more kind of going forward. You can see maybe he's wanting the tempo quicker, he's wanting things to go through the attack phase of play quicker, and that's only going to be beneficial for us going forward. So, and it's the way that we know Brendan Rodgers in terms of his first spell in the tail end of last season. That's the Brendan Rodgers style of play that we kind of seen bits of it near the end of the year there, but with Ange it was similar. So you've seen the football we've seen with Ange, we've seen it near the end of the season there with Rodgers. The Kilmarnock game was evident of that. The first half at Ibrox as well, the first half at Celtic Park as well against them across the water. So we did see on here the end of the season came at the wrong time in terms of the way we were playing football, and hopefully now we can take that into this season. And some of the goals were good. Jan done okay as well. James Forrest to be one the guy and played it through in the net. So there's loads of wee bits you can take for friendlies, but the main thing is, listen, 4-0 and the result's brilliant and it's good on the eye and getting a victory and getting your performance levels up, but it's all about the fitness, and you can see that there's obviously, for the step up for Ayr in Queen's Park to the game on Saturday night, Sunday morning there, you can see a difference in the tempo of play. You can see they look fitter and a bit sharper. So that's the main thing. That tells you whatever they're doing is working, because they're not looking as lacklustre. Because I know United was the first game, and you're going to understand, same with Queen's Park, they're a bit rusty, but they just didn't look really fit at all. You can really tell with the manager, he wasn't happy. But you can see he's a bit more upbeat now, and hopefully he can take it into the game against obviously Man City. It's going to be hard, whether or not they play a strong 11 or not. It doesn't even matter, because let's be fair, Man City's B team should be good enough to beat Celtic. With the amount of money they've got, the amount of players that they've got sitting there and even playing, and they're top players. So it will be a good exercise for the team, and we'll see where we are as it stands at the moment, mate.
Yeah, Alan, obviously, like I says to Ryan there, the team look as if they're in a decent place physically. Still a couple of players obviously short. You know, Alistair Johnson's no there. Cameron Carter-Vickers hasn't kicked a ball yet. McGregor got a few minutes, but again, he's he's not played as many minutes as, like, say, Kyogo, Matt O'Reilly, because they played in the first couple of friendlies in Scotland before they headed out. But in terms of physicalness and physicality, even, we certainly look as if we're in a good place, mate.
Definitely. I enjoyed a lot of the game on Saturday, as Ryan says, compared to the Queen's Park game, especially. So looking at it, there was a lot of really good performances, and I think none better than the boy at left back. I think everybody's speaking about Matthew Anderson. It looked as if he just kind of slotted into the team. Looked like a first team player. I'm no getting ahead of myself because, as Ryan says, DC United are only a kind of top caliber side. But just the way he looked comfortable in the ball, the way he looked comfortable defending, I was very, very impressed with him. So let's hope he can kick on for that. And we've all been shouting about needing a new left back, but maybe we don't need one. Maybe this guy's got to come in and be similar to Kieran Tierney. That's quite a step up to get to. There's a long way to go to get anywhere near that. But after that game, he really, really impressed me. I think we're looking at last year as well, where Holmes kind of stop-start performances. I think he's looked relatively decent. He looks as if he's improved quite a bit since last year. So we're hoping that kind of stays on as well. But at the end of the day, it's pre-season. This is usually where we get kind of fitness into players, get match fitness into players. So we can't judge kind of too quickly. We need to make sure that these guys kind of continue that kind of vein of form or that kind of performance level that we need throughout the season. Like Ryan, I know he's kind of compared back to the Anja. Everybody's got opinions, but I just seen a different kind of play of football for for that game the weekend there. I thought it was a lot longer passes, a lot quicker, and it was like cross field diagonals. It was like, well, we're trying to get up the park a lot quicker. It wasn't like your 5-10 yard passes. There was a lot kind of more direct passing, which it seemed to work. So as we say, we're going to come up against a better opponent during the week, and then Chelsea at the weekend. So I probably think we're going to see maybe to a starting level the quality aside that we're going to have it in the first league game of the season. I think most of the starting players will be starting these games. I think this is kind of warm ups for upcoming league games. So I would expect, whereas we've seen Callum McGregor on the bench to start with against DC United, and maybe think the next games against Chelsea, against Man City and Chelsea, I think more of our starting players will maybe be in that starting 11 and we'll maybe change it after 60 minutes. But it was definitely nice to watch, and there was a lot of positives out of the game. There was a couple of negatives that you could pick on, but I think for the majority it was really positive for that game, and it looked as if a lot of the players have kind of kicked on a wee bit since obviously the game last week and from last season.
Yeah, in terms of fitness levels, I think that's one of the glaring things for me, lads, was the certain fitness levels of certain individuals. You know, you mentioned the lad Matthew Anderson, Alan. I thought he was excellent. I liked the boy Donovan at the other side. I liked how confident he was when he lost the ball a couple of times. But I always look for young lads. Ryan, I spoke to you about this millions of times, and it's very easy for a young lad to give the ball away and then hide. Because oh no, I've gave the ball away. I'm playing the first team today, I've gave the ball away. The lad wanted the ball back and he was trying to get the ball back and he was running after the ball as well. He never stopped moving on the right side at all. There was a couple of nice wee intricate passes he played. There was one he kind of played, it was like a 1-2 with Kuhn. I actually set up the second goal. A lovely wee back heel into Kuhn's path to take Kuhn in the field for then that dink over the top of the back four. Obviously, Kyogo's unlucky. He's trying to dink the goalkeeper. Then the ball comes out and Matt O'Reilly puts it in with his right foot. So, I actually think he scored. Did Matt O'Reilly score 2 goals with his right foot?
You might be right, aye.
I think he did, didn't he? The first one was under the goalie's legs, wasn't it? Through the goalkeeper's legs.
First one was definitely right.
I think it was on his right peg. He caught the second one as well, if my memory serves me right. I think I know I've got used to thinking now. Maybe that's your homework tonight, lads. You can get back to me once, maybe even later in the show. But yeah, I was impressed with some of the movement, and used to have hit on as well the change in the dynamics of their passing through the lines. It wasn't just dinked. It was zipped. And you're talking 15, 20-yard passes through the lines, players moving constantly off the ball. I've noticed that as well. There was nobody static. There was more movement. Even young Jan, he was always in the move. His face was purple when he came off the pitch. He'd ran that much. His pace was a big, a massive threat to DC United. He's have highlighted James Forrest when he came on as well. He was really lively. I was impressed with Tomoki Iwata. I thought he was very good. Thought some of his passing, he does a simple thing, lads, but a bit like Neil Lennon. Neil Lennon made a career out of being very effective in games without really being noticed, if that made sense. Because he does like the donkey side of the work that people sometimes people hide for and don't want to do it. So I was really impressed with Iwata. Hatate, I'm going to put my neck out in the line now and say Hatate's going to be player of the year this season coming. Should he stay with us, he'll be player of the year. Everything's easy to him. And he looks as if he's becoming more attuned to what Brendan Rodgers is looking for. And as I say, I was quite impressed. Obviously, we've got our first caller waiting just now, but just before we do that, just to let everyone know, if anyone is looking for our partner of the podcast and is looking to get anything framed, his Facebook page, the MCM framing page, was hacked. So apparently he's lost that for the time being. But he is on a Facebook page and it's Johnny Mullaney. It's got the logo of the MCM framing, the same logo that we've obviously put up before. So it's got the exact same logo, but it's Johnny Mullaney now instead of MCM framing services. So if anyone's looking for that, you just go over and you'll get him on there. I think it's the same with his Instagram as well. He put in a message earlier saying that his pages were hacked. So unfortunate there. But lads, we do have our first caller of the evening. We are a wee bit later, so I do apologise before he comes on, because I know he's probably going to shout at me when he does get on. But it is the one and only Mr. Graham Souness. Here he's here, and he goes by the name of Francis Lester. Good evening, Francis. How are we?
Good evening. That's ridiculous amount of time waiting.
What did I tell you? What did I say?
No, well, That's deep, boys. Good to see you all looking well.
How are you, mate? Good.
To see you, Francis. How are you?
Great. I was good, but you kind of stole my thunder a wee bit, Alan, talking about the two young fullbacks for the weekend, and I was really impressed with them. I thought, especially the first 10, 15 minutes, because through the full 90 minutes, I don't think DC United were that great, but the first 10 minutes, they were really coming at us with pace, and we were moving the ball really fast, pressing them and passing the ball out really quick. And I thought the two young lads acquitted themselves really, really well. I was very impressed with them, both of them, especially that one's only, what, he's 17 or 16 or 17. One of them is a Donovan boy.
Yeah.
He's only 17, and
they
come out and play the way they did. I was really impressed with them. But my main point tonight was, what do you think about Matt O'Reilly being given the captaincy for that game? Do you think this is Brendan trying to throw a wee bit of extra love his way just because of all the transfer talk at the minute?
Well, I'll put it to you, lads. Ryan, what's your thoughts on that one, mate?
Do you know what? I didn't give that a thought, Francis. Could be something in it. I don't know. But my thoughts on Matt O'Reilly, I think if he was any way, shape leaving Celtic, I don't think he'd be playing because I know he needs minutes and it's pre-season, but he's a lot of value to Celtic, potentially 20 odd million plus. So, don't know what you feel on that, Francis, but for me, I do not feel Celtic would be in any situation to play a player who potentially could be out the door for a lot of money and he could get a hammy. I know he could do it in training, but when you're not really fit and you're playing at a high intensity and the heat and a horrible pitch, I don't think Brendan would be playing him if he was in any way, shape, leaving this week or the next 2 or 3 days, because it only takes one wee bad touch in that bad park and it could be injured. So for me, I don't know if it's a sweetener, but I don't know how you feel, Francis, but for me, I don't think there's any way in the next day or two that he'll be away, because I don't think he'd be playing on that park anyway.
No, I do. I agree, because I think the same thing applies to Adamida with Norwich, because that's been making me think that that's maybe definitely not going to happen now, because the way they're talking, they're playing him as well. Plus, the way the manager's talking about him, he's in his plans for Norwich, you know. So I've got a feeling that we're not going to get either. And I think you're right about Matt O'Reilly. Especially, Atalanta's definitely not going to get him for the sweetie money they're offering at the minute. You know what I mean? 14.2 million. Who are they kidding?
No, I said that, Francis, earlier on, actually, to someone else. I said, I take it they'll just want to take him to Five Guys or Nando's or something, because they're certainly not going to buy him to play next season for them, that's for sure.
No chance. But also here, Southampton are interested, maybe going to come in with a bid for him. At the same time as talking about giving Stuart Armstrong a trial. I don't get that.
Yeah, Brentford, he's in trial with, isn't it? He played a game for them on Saturday there, Stuart Armstrong.
Yeah,
who knows, mate? I don't know. In terms of Adamida, I don't know about that one, but obviously, Alan, in terms of Francis's initial point about Matt O'Reilly getting the captain's armband, mate, what's your thoughts on that?
Very interesting, especially it was one of the games that Stephen Welsh was already captain, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Sure he was. Aye. And Stephen Welsh started, and as Matt O'Reilly was captain, especially it was a pretty young team that was out over the weekend there, but he picked kind of Matt O'Reilly. I don't know if that could be a wee sweetener or something to try and get him to stay on for an extra 6 months to a year, etc. But yeah, it could be looked upon it like that. I never really thought of it like that, so it's a good point by Francis. But when you think about the Stephen Welsh part, he was captain previously in another friendly, so it's a bit obscure to say the least that Matt O'Reilly's then been put in front of him as a captain. So it would be Brendan, I don't know. So it's a good point, Francis. Fair play.
Suppose so. And he did score with his right foot, those 2 goals.
I thought he did. No, I did. I thought that, because I remember the first one that was put through the goalkeeper's legs. And if I remember the second one, like, Kuhn dinks the ball, Kyogo tries to chip it, it bounces off the goalkeeper, and it comes onto O'Reilly's right side. So he just hit it first time, didn't he?
Right. Yeah, he did. It was a good finish.
Not bad, Brian, for the old age kicking in. I know, mate, with myself. Memory's still got it there. Definitely.
I'm just blaming the vodka, mate. That's what I'm blaming.
Francis, obviously, while you're here, in terms of what else did you see within the team that you were impressed with? I know you've mentioned the two young fullbacks, but
I thought
I thought Thiago Holm was outstanding.
Yeah, I thought he did. He played well, but I thought Hatate was brilliant. I thought everything was just so easy for him, you know. I thought his touch and the speed of the whole team. I thought they played really, really well. I was really impressed with the performance. You know, considering that it was, I think it's our first, you could say, our first real test. I mean, they're well into their season, and I was expecting them to be, you know, probably a bit faster to the ball than us, but we seemed to control start to finish, I felt, you know, and it could have been a lot more as well. It was good to see Mikey Johnson getting a goal after all the powdering we've been giving, and then he goes and misses the penalty.
Yeah. But it was one of those ones, wasn't it, with the penalty, Francis? I mean, he does that wee kind of run and stops and starts, and
I know, I hate that.
Just run up and hit the ball, man. Just stop stuttering and starting and just going, you know.
I thought Palmer played well as well. I liked
he was unlucky. He was unlucky with that curl.
Curled in and the keeper made a great save, you know. And he looked a bit trimmer to me, Palmer, I thought. I don't know if you guys noticed that.
Yeah, well, I read a wee transcript today, Francis, actually, regarding Brendan Rodgers speaking about him. And one of the things that Palmer was asked to take away with him over the summer to work on was his running when he's not got the ball. So when he's not on the ball, he needs to keep running and keep it going. But it looks as if he's went away, and like he says, he's certainly lost a wee bit of timber as well.
I think
I've been ripping shreds at him for the last 6 months, that's how.
By the time you're finished with me, big man, he's probably going to have lost about 6 stone.
The size of Marco Tilio.
And James Forrest as well. I mean, I thought again he comes on, and that was Forrest 10 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Knock the ball by, goodbye a player. He's having the time of his life now, Forrest. I think it's because he resigned himself to being out of the picture, and he's had his testimonial, and I think the pressure just fell off him now, and he's just enjoying playing. Yeah. I think he's great boy to keep in the squad. I mean, don't get me wrong, a couple of seasons ago I was tearing him to ribbons because he just wasn't turning it on. He was doing my head in, but now I've got to say he's been superb. Towards the end of last season, the goals he scored for us, and then I thought the other night when he came on, he was brilliant.
Yeah, 100%, mate. Sorry, Francis, on you go.
Yeah, just one more thing. I heard a wee bit yesterday with Brendan Rodgers. I can't remember who it was. I heard him talking to, or who said it. He was saying that he wants to have 3 strikers before the season starts. So there must be at least another, 2 on his mind. I don't know if you guys know anything about that or any ideas who it might be. If one of them's not already either.
Alan, you've got to imagine that if he sanctioned the deal for O to go to Genk, you've got to imagine, even if, just say for talking sake, like for example, it's Adam Eder, you've got to imagine Brendan's very confident that that deal's going to get done. Otherwise, he's not going to sanction that deal.
Maybe the deal was too good to be true. Maybe we're all saying about $4.5 million for O. Maybe the club will say, listen, we need him now, or we're not coming back in with that kind of offer. So maybe they've took that up. I was pretty confident about we're going to get Ida across the line, but the more and more it goes on, and the more you hear for the kind of Norwich manager as well, it looks as if it might not happen. It looks as if Celtic's maybe got to a point that's saying, no, that's a bit too rich for our blood. That's maybe a bit too much you're asking for him. So I would hope a club with our stature and our profile, we would have kind of contingency plans that we could go, right, there's the next in line. We're looking for another striker. Let's go for this guy, because we're a week and 5 days to be start the season. So we need to make sure all it takes is for, and you said, JP, all it takes is for Kyogo to kind of pull a hamstring or take a knock, a twist, and we're looking at the nightmare of having Mikey Johnston starting up front the first game of the season. I don't really help against Mikey Johnston. He's obviously a professional footballer, and he's done exceptionally well to get to this standard, but for us to be going for Kyogo or Ida to Mikey Johnston up front, that's somehow scary, and I think that a lot of Celtic fans would agree with that. So I think the next few days, even if the players that we bring in aren't coming over to America and they're just meeting when we come back home, Scotland, we need to get a few players in. I think it's crystal clear that we need to get a few players in. So I hope we see a lot of activity over the next kind of coming days, because I think the closer we get to the season, the more and more kind of apprehensive we're getting about who's really going to be in this squad and who's going to be back up for certain key positions like striker and behind Kyogo. So it's getting a wee bit slightly panicky that we need to get a shift on, guys. I think we'd all agree on that.
I'm actually quite calm, lads, to be fair. When I heard Rodgers speak as well, and the calmness that's coming for him as well, and how relaxed he is, it just that helps to put me at ease. I don't know about any yous, but when I see Rodgers speaking about it, and it's as if he kind of quietly knows what's going on in the background. He kind of knows what's maybe down the line, which is giving me confidence. I don't know why, but that's what my take is on that. But Francis, listen, thanks very much for joining us tonight, mate, and giving us your thoughts as always, mate.
No bother, lads.
Right,
Good
Cheers,
to
Take it
Francis.
easy.
Take care, mate. Take care,
We'll see you
mate.
again, mate. Okay, thank you.
Cheers. Hail,
Cheers,
hail.
mate. Hail,
Hail,
hail.
hail,
Bye-bye.
mate. Bye-bye. Thanks again to Francis for his thoughts tonight. Guys and girls in the chat, we are going to do something we haven't done as yet, and I'll be surprised to most of you as well. So we are going to open the floor to you guys, and by doing that, we are going to put the link to join us. So if anybody would like to come on and give us a wee, a wee natter about how you're thinking in terms of what's needed for pre-season, where we are in pre-season, what's needed for the next season, anything at all that's on your mind Celtic related, feel free to join myself, Ryan and Alan. I'll put a link in the chat in a wee moment for you, and one of you lucky people can come through and speak to us. Now, don't worry, folks, if you don't want to be on camera, there is an option you can choose to come on and be audio only. So we'll only hear you, we'll not be able to see you. But what I will say is there'll be no bad language tolerated, and there'll be no sectarian chants at all, or any bigotry, or anything at all going to be tolerated. You will be removed instantaneously. And I'm afraid a ban will be put on your account from being able to come back in again. So please be nice, be kind. We are a friendly bunch in here, and yeah, but it'd be good to get your thoughts, folks. So please don't hesitate to come on. As I say, what you see is what you get with us, lads. But Ryan, a couple of good points for Francis here. I never actually thought of that in terms of the captaincy with Matt O'Reilly. But obviously, I think one of the commenters there, Ed, says as well, I think that's a way for Celtic and Brendan maybe to show him that, he's invaluable to the club as well, and potential suitors. Look, this guy's an important member of your squad, and if you want him, then you need to be serious about it.
Aye, no, definitely. I think in terms of Matt O'Reilly, maybe Celtic are getting some of their own medicine with low blocking teams, so they're trying to do it. So, but Celtic should be saying, if it's Man United, Atlanta, whoever it is, it's going to be for Matt O'Reilly. You just say, look, it's 25 plus or 30, whatever it is they feel is ever, and then that's it. Anything else, we're not even going to look at the fax machine, the emails, the phone calls, whatever it is they deal with these days. We're no dealing with it. So unless you come with a sensible offer, see you later. And that's probably the same way Norwich have been with Celtic, because the Adam Eder thing, it's kind of, I don't want to say it's peeing me off, but it's annoying me the way that the club has went about it. The club have understood roughly what they're going to need to bid, and that might be 6 million, 6.5, 7 million. That should be, in my opinion, the first offer for Adam Eder. Roughly £6 million. They add on, it's just £6 million and then see what Norwich say, because the difference for me on this situation is I get you need to low ball the odd time to maybe start the process, right? I get that. But Celtic roughly know what Bernardo and what Adam Eder are going to be. So why are you going way lower? Do you really think Benfica? Maybe Benfica might.
Well, certainly the deal for Bernardo in isolation, Ryan. Before we talk about Eder, that was already agreed, because that.
But then they went again. He says no, but can you date for 3.5? We'll give you 30%, and then we'll give you more add-ons. They've not just
well, they've obviously Celtic maybe thought, Ryan, that it was open to renegotiation.
Probably on Bernardo, I'm no as because of that was already kind of agreed, and there might, we don't know what the kind of wiggle room was with Bernardo, right? We don't know what's behind the scenes, right? But we can only go by what we see on social media, Twitter, what we see with journalists and the media right and right. And the media, just about every article I've read for Norwich media down south, it's all roughly 6 million upwards. So why would you go and bid 4.5 million for a player they're saying that he's key to your team maybe next season? He's no for sale. Do you really think the Norwich is going to go, do you know what? We said 6, but we'll take 4.5. It's Looney Tunes. It's absolutely Looney Tunes. They're messing about, they're low balling, they're trying to get a guy on the cheap. Pay the money. If you want the guy, Rodgers wants him, pay the 6.5 what it is, and get him in the door. Stop pissing us all about the fans.
That's recruitment, mate. That's recruitment.
No,
that's
Jake,
negotiations. That's recruitment.
It's
that's
ridiculous, mate.
That's how it's
It's
done.
ridiculous, mate.
There's a
There's a
line.
line.
But things are done like that because it starts conversation.
We wouldn't be
that's what I'm
slagging at
saying.
Atlanta.
No, starting conversations.
We can't say that about ourselves.
Just for talking sake, Bojan Miovski, I'm just saying this because he spoke about the Celtic in the past, right? We don't know if Celtic, there's been nothing really online saying Aberdeen have said to Celtic, we want 4, 5, 6. There's nothing really concrete, right? But see if Aberdeen go to Celtic and say, we want 5. Why would you then go bid 3.5? Gee, Aberdeen are going to accept 3.5 million when they've said they want 5? No.
Oh, but it's to start a negotiation
but
process.
that's what I'm saying.
There's a line between negotiation and cheeky. Right?
See if Celtic don't know what the club wants, right? Just for talking sake, it was Lennon Miller, right? I don't know if Motherwell have come out with evaluation, right? Just say they haven't, right? And Celtic go, right, we'll bid £2 million for Lennon Miller. And then Motherwell going, no, we want 4.5. Then Celtic should go on, right, now we know where we're stalling, we can decide what we want to do. But they already knew what Adam Meader's going to be roughly worth. So why would you then go down and bid 4.5 with add-ons? The add-ons might not even get to the process that they're going to pay the add-ons.
P. McLaughlin, good comment there. Norwich have a good leverage. They've upped the ante because they know, and they could argue
but
that
that's
Adam Meader won as a double.
But that's up to Norwich. He's in a long-term contract. He's their player. They didn't realise how well he was going to do. He's still under contract. There was no option to buy, so they've got no obligation to say to Celtic, no, it's what he's valued beforehand. It's what he's valued at now. He potentially won as a double last season. If Brendan Rodgers wants him and the board are saying, aye, we can get him for you, pay roughly what Norwich want and you'll get him in the door.
Yeah.
But I totally get
it. We've said 100 times, there's no bigger than Celtic. No player bigger than Celtic. We've
And
got
see-
a valuation of Celtic's a club.
See, in my opinion,
we either
if
go for
Adam-
it or we
aye.
don't.
Guys,
If
one at a
Adam-
time. One at a time,
if
guys.
Adam
One at a
Meader-
time.
After this, I'm finished. If Adam Meader is not going to get done within the next week, leave it to back burner, maybe talk behind the scenes, but you need to get somebody else. I am not waiting to the end of August to wait till Adam Meader and the Norwich guy goes, do you know what? I know you can get him. We don't wait to announce some teams and we sit about. Maybe work on it in the back burner, but we need to get somebody else in.
No, there'll be an ongoing. Listen, there'll be an ongoing process. I
but
don't
see
think
for us
Celtic
to
are just sitting.
See, for us to potentially not be fully stronger, in my opinion, right now, we don't know what's going to happen in 2 weeks' time. Right? We don't know. But as it stands right now, we can potentially go into the campaign against Kilmarnock, which you should be going in stronger. At least we have a squad added to you. We've only signed 2 goalkeepers as it stands. That's for me
Probably,
enough as
by
it
the way,
stands.
there's an argument there that you probably improved that department as well.
But we'll know as a
I
I get what you're saying.
We'll come back to that. We'll come back to that. Alan, obviously you want to jump in and what Ryan's saying there in terms of Bernardo Nida, which is fine. But before I bring you in, big man, we've had 2 kind donations. One for Feed the Bear. He says, hail troops. Thank you very much for your kind-heartedness. We've done another one for Jai, who is going to get held to this. He said he'll come on and chat with us at another time.
Brilliant.
And he also says hail. So 2 lovely kind donations there. Thank you very much, guys. Right, Alan. Okay. I'm going to go and make a tea. I'll let you two.
Guys, get a photo of Big Nero out of Jungle Book. He'll come on after he's been kicking about with Mobley and Baloo. So, we either, as I've said there is no player that's bigger than Celtic. It's a club of what went on with it. Players like Henrik Larsson, Moravcik, Nakamura, Edward, Dembele, etc. So if we don't get Adam Meader this summer, then we move on to the contingency plan. If we value Adam Meader at 4 million, 4.5 million, and Norwich won't accept that, then that's the way it goes. We move on. We move on to the next player that's on that list.
Yeah.
So what I think Ryan might be right with is that it could be a Celtic player kind of near the end of the transfer window, because we need another 2 strikers because O's left. Ida's not there. So I think he might bring in another striker, and it might get to a stage that Norwich go, right, wait a minute, we might accept 5 million, 5.5 million. If Celtic come back in, we'll accept that. But I think there's a while to go before they'll accept that. I think they'll probably be looking for other clubs that might be able to bid the kind of money that Norwich are looking for at the minute.
Mm-hmm.
That's if Norwich want to let him go. But as we said, as Ryan says the other now, I know we've brought in 2 goalkeepers, right, and we're quite happy with the kind of position of goalkeeper that we've brought in. But as we stand just now, we've lost kind of a number of players, including Adam Ida and Paolo Bernardo, that aren't returning as we speak. It looks likely that Bernardo might be returning, but as we speak just now, we are starting the season a fair bit weaker than we ended the season last year. And as Ryan says, we should be looking season on season to be starting the start of the season stronger. And as we speak at the minute, that's just not the case.
Well,
so,
I can agree with you to an extent.
No.
I can agree with you to an extent in terms of squad. We're certainly weaker in my squad. Yeah, 100%. But there is an argument that Dida and Bernardo start every single week. There is the other side of the argument is, do they need to be here right now? Because it's not like they're going to take months to gel, or, you know, can they wait till we come back for USA and then come in? So
we'll be back for USA on Sunday.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so we don't know what's going to happen. If we can predict that future, man, then I want a lot of numbers for
Mystic Meg.
That's what I'm saying. Unfortunately, we don't have a.
Will be happening in the next few days. I don't know.
Well, the thing is, we don't know. This is the thing, Alan. We don't know. Like I says, lads, I think there will be an element of a surprise somewhere along the lines of we're going to go and we're going to think, you know, who's God, where's this come from? Or where's this come out of? You know, but we're rambling on. We did have a second caller there, but he seems to have disappeared. Someone called Tam, ready to come on and speak to us.
But Tam was still game. We only put £10 on the phone.
I was only put 10p in a meter. You need to top up. You need to top up a meter. You need to do that as you go, Tam. But Tam, if you want to come back on, mate, feel free to jump in. Or anybody else, that link, please click on the link that's been put in the chat. If you want to come on and have a chat with us, that is open for everyone. I'll put it in again. There you go. If anyone wants to come on, again, you don't have to come on camera. It's your choice. You can come on just through audio. But
I think, see the thing for me about the other thing, lads, I don't know what you feel, right? Because I think the first bid that we've seen public knowledge, I think there's been 2. I think the first was about 3rd of July, right? So now 22nd. So for me, you'd like to think there'll be another bid for then, because in my opinion, if you want a player, you'll kind of go in again. That's why Atlanta, within a week or so, they're back in again. It might have been a terrible bid, but they're back in again. So
we've got Tam back on the line again, right, mate, if you want to let him back in.
Far away.
Good evening, Tam. Thanks for clicking the link, mate. Welcome to the show.
Evening, chaps.
How you doing, mate? All right?
How are you?
Aye, not bad. Good to talk to you. Long time watcher.
Good stuff, mate. Appreciate it.
Aye. Just asking Al about his pigeon head. It seems to be getting more refined over time.
What's this?
My hair?
Sam, is there anything you want to talk to us about Celtic?
What's your point, Tam?
The hair's grown.
Aye. Listen, it's the same all part for me, boys. I'm no worried about transfer window just now. I know now, like, everybody's like, we should be doing this, doing that. But a week outside Euros, and listen, most cunts have been out partying.
Sorry, Tam, I told you, before you came on, mate. You can't say any bad language, mate. Sorry, pal.
Especially that C-bomb, man. That's a no-no.
No. Sorry, mate.
Aye.
You were told before you came on. We'll not
A wee
appreciate any
S-bomb,
bad
maybe,
language
but
as well,
aye.
guys. There's a way to put your point across.
If you like
And,
it back on, Tam, just try no swear, please, mate.
Thanks for taking the opportunity.
Don't swear, compliment my hair.
Yeah.
My poor
To be-
to
To be fair,
Yeah,
it
no,
was
listen,
not good.
Aye, to be fair, big man, your hair's fine. Don't worry about it.
Aye,
No, listen, I know what you're saying, but recruitment's an ongoing process. It's not something, Celtic will not be just sitting still and, you know, thinking to themselves, right, okay, you know, this is going to be a long time. We'll not do anything. We're just going to sit here and we'll just go over the squad again. That'll not be happening at all, you know. So it's, yeah, as I said, for me personally, I know for a fact it's an ongoing process. And like I says, lads, and I'll put this one to you, I really do think there'll be one or two surprises. I don't think that the mainstream media will know totally every part of Brendan's plans. And there'll be maybe one or two surprises as we go, moving towards the season.
I think there definitely will be, and I would hope there will be as well. We spoke a couple of weeks ago about how many positions that we need kind of filled. Maybe we'll talk like kind of 7-8 positions, that whether that be kind of players going into the first team or squad players. But we've only kind of brought in, strengthened in one position. So I would expect there will be some surprises. We speak kind of regularly about how clever and how smart we need to be because we've not got budgets like the English Premier League and La Liga, the Bundesliga, etc. So we need to be smart and the kind of experience and the players that we bring in, maybe players that are kind of living up to their potential. We know that they might have a bit more that Brendan can maybe squeeze out of them and get the best out of them. So I would expect a few players that we've comes out of left field and we've maybe not been expecting. And we can only put our trust in our manager this year. I think we all kind of agreed last year that most of the signings that were brought in were maybe already in place before Brendan came in the door. So we need to put our trust in Brendan this year with the transfers, and we need to think that all of them have been okayed by Brendan before they're coming in. So we all know that we all think he's an elite level manager. So if he's okayed them, then I'm perfectly happy trusting in kind of Brendan's opinion and his knowledge.
Yeah. We've got another caller, Ryan, just before I bring you in. Plunge has decided to join us this evening, and he's took the opportunity to come on camera as well. So let's bring him in, see what he's got to say. Plunge has decided. Good evening, Plunge. How are you, mate?
Evening, how are you doing? All right.
He's took the opportunity to come on camera as well. So
Dancing.
what to say?
How you doing, guys?
How are you, mate?
All right, how are you doing? All right.
Not too bad. If you've got something on in the background, Plunge, you maybe need to turn it down, mate, because there's a terrible echo.
All right.
All right.
Did you do unplug
If you've
it?
got something on in the background, Plunge, you maybe need to turn it
So
down,
if you're
mate.
watching it, bang it off.
If you're watching us on the TV or if you're watching us on something, you'll need to turn it off.
So if you're watching it,
All right, what do you do?
If you're watching us on the TV or if you're watching us on something, you'll need to turn it off.
So if you're the X-Files in it, man.
I've never done this before.
Are you watching us and then listening is back? Aye, that's what he's doing there.
Every day's a school day, innit?
Aye.
All right, we'll get there eventually. Don't worry, we'll get there.
I think what you were saying there is obviously right. It is about recruitment, innit? It's about obviously we have got to go through a process and stuff. But I think just for me, I think I seen a comment from Robbie there about the Celtic Exchange podcast. I did watch it, Robbie, myself, and it's actually pretty interesting from a guy who David Lowe, who's in the know in terms of Celtic and the shares and the money side. And to be fair, everything he says, it was pretty interesting in terms of the way he feels the club should be run and the way the club is run at the moment. And basically he says it is kind of roughly, but the fans kind of know that we don't go overboard, and we are kind of. Don't know if he's had watch it, lads, but he basically says that the club are kind of holding cash at the moment in terms of not putting as much maybe as they potentially could for wages and transfers and that. What he says the Celtic model works. It does work because every 2 or 3 years they sell a big player, and that's why we're so big as well in the Champions League. The model works. So I get what he's saying in terms of because it works, why don't you do it a bit more and then it'll work again? So instead of bidding $1 million for a player, bid the 3 or 4 million to get him in, because you know in a year or two's time he's potentially you'll get that money back. So I think that's what we've kind of spoke about on here, and other people that have spoken about, that if you do go a bit braver on a player that you know, and you can't be guaranteed anything, right? But just say, I keep talking about the lad, right? Just say it was Daniel Podence, right? A year ago, 27, 28, whatever it is, right? And you did pay the £7 or £8 million. A year and a half or 2 years success, you could probably sell him for maybe a bit more than you bought him for. So that kind of thing, I think that's what he was getting at. The model does work. And he says, but there is parts of the club that does need tweaked and modernised. And Alan says it last week. I think that there's more potential for the club to grow if they just went a wee bit kind of thing. So I would recommend that. Don't know if you should have watched it, lads, but it was a good listen, to be fair.
No, I didn't even know it was a thing to the other now. Cheers, Robbie. I'm maybe give that a wee watch myself. Yeah, listen, Ryan, obviously as well, you're talking about the development of the club and stuff, and the club evolving. Don't forget, lads, there's players still developing right now as we speak. You know, Holmes a year older in the team. You've got Palmer, you've got, Kuhn. All these lads are all developing. Who knows when these guys are going to end up churning out?
Mikey Johnson.
Well, Mikey's there, but listen, Brendan likes him. In terms of technical ability, Brendan's already given his total opinion on him. Who knows what obviously is going to happen with Mikey? Whether Celtic fans like him or not, I mean, that's a totally different thing.
No, he's talented. He's just obviously not Celtic. He's not done it as maybe
Well, Brendan challenged him, didn't he, Ryan, in terms of fitness-wise? He says to him, get yourself ready for every game, and, we'll see what happens. Who knows? You don't know what's round the corner. But in terms of guys like Lagerbielke, Holm, Narotsky, I know he's injured just now, but you've got Palmer, you've got Kuhn, Yang. A lot of these boys have already been written off with sections of the Celtic fans. But these guys are developing. I'm not writing them off. I'm not writing them off. It's silly to do that because I know guys that wrote Henrik Larsson off after his first couple of games. Look what happened there. And they wrote Petrov off. It took Stan a year to settle with us before they get going. But guys of that ilk, these guys are developing quietly in the background as well. So who knows what they're going to churn out. Like I said earlier on tonight's show, Thiago Holm has totally changed drastically, in my opinion, Ryan, in terms of his fitness level, his physicality, and again, running off the ball, no just when he's got the ball, moving into positions to receive passes, which he was struggling to do maybe 10 months ago. When he
Can we judge him against Queen's Park and DC United after a season of not being up to the mark? Can we? Really?
Well, maybe no fairly, but you could say that about any of them, and we're quite impressed. We've ringed off guys tonight that you're impressed with. So is it fair to judge everybody then?
I've reiterated a number of times saying that it's only against DC United. But
yeah, but you're up against a team who are far... Listen, you're up against a team who are far ahead of you than what you are in your preparation. And they were the team that were dropping with cramp. More than one player.
They were a great side. I don't want to use the word poor, but I think if we watched that game, you see it should have been about 8 or 9-0, and they were
100%.
great at all.
But fitness level-wise, you're looking at Celtic and you're saying, right, where are they fit? I mean, it's no you could say that for the rest of Scottish football then, they're not that great then, because Celtic just steamroll them.
No, I'd say though, probably a lot of Scottish football a lot better than that team we played at the weekend. I think a lot of people would agree with you saying that. I don't think they were.
Even with
They
guys
were
like
great at all.
Benteke and stuff like that. Oof. It's a big shout, man.
Benteke must be about 109 now. So he's
Oh,
he's on the bench.
no.
He's not even getting on. Benteke is a fair age now. He used to play with Aston Villa and Crystal Palace,
Yeah.
didn't he? And even then, he was the most mobile. So, nah, they weren't great. I'm not saying they were a walkover by any means. Celtic played well. I've gave all the confidence in saying that Celtic played well, but at the other end, you need to say how the other team is as well. And I think when we come up against the likes of kind of Man City and Chelsea, no matter what standard a team they put out, we'll have a lot more of a challenge Tuesday night and Saturday night coming than we had at that weekend there. So it'll be another test
Is it
point
Saturday?
as well.
Is it Saturday, Alan, or is it Friday?
Saturday
we
at
play
9
Celtic?
o'clock.
Saturday at 9.
So that'll be a lot more of a challenge, and hopefully guys like Anderson and Home, they can continue to kind of come on, and that only does well for their confidence. But I've been down these roads too many times to kind of judge on the first couple of pre-seasons. It was a couple of years ago where neighbours beat Real Madrid, and all of a sudden the world beaters, Sakala was the best player on the planet and all that. So just we'll keep it calm at the minute and just see how we get on. But it does look positive at the second, and hopefully we can continue that on Tuesday and Saturday, because it'll be a lot better opposition, and hopefully we can match that opposition and keep our confidence going.
Yeah, no, listen, 100%. But like I says, I always look at fitness levels at this stage and who's showing up and who's not, because it's like I says, it's easy for guys to, like especially young lads that go in pre-season, when they make an error or when they do something wrong in the game, it's easy for their heads to drop and hide. You've seen that in years previous. Guys like Jamie Smith and that used to do it regularly when they got in the team. What's the other one? Was it Rocco Quinn? He was another one who used to get quite frustrated whenever he made a Ross Wallace as well. He was another one. So you need to keep ahead. When you make a mistake, it's only obvious you're going to make mistakes because you've been asked to play a certain way under this manager. And Brendan will shoulder the mistakes that are made, no the individual player. And I like that. I quite like that about a manager, because he's asking them to play brave football and be brave when they've got the ball. Be calm. And again, it doesn't matter who they're playing against. They need to do that against any opposition at all. But like Alan says, Ryan, obviously Tuesday night, tomorrow night is going to be a big step up massively than what we're likely to face even next season. In my opinion, they're probably the best team in Europe, or give or take one or two teams. Certainly the best team in England, that's for sure. And I know with even a depleted squad, some of the young boys will certainly be right up for it as well and want to impress Pep Guardiola.
I kind of hope Brendan's going to be asking Guardiola if he can get any decent loan players. That could be something as well. I know loan players isn't ideal, but we've seen it with Jota and Vickers, Bernardo potentially. Guys like that, I am happy to take a loan with the option of potentially buying, because that's maybe one reason why you're going to get, I don't want to say a superstar, but one of these players that if you did spend money on them, you might need to spend maybe 10 to 12 to 15 million pounds. But if you get them alone for a year, we've done it before in Man City and it's been pretty positive. So I'm just trying to maybe say that tongue in cheek that maybe he's in his year. At touchline, remember Bernardo Silva? Have you a cheeky loan deal? But
did I hear right that this is he's coming into the next one? Is this his last season with Man City?
Potentially, I think so. It's got to be a fit, but listen...
No Pep, Bernardo Silva as well.
Pep as well,
yeah, I know that. I know. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, it's going to be a very hard game during the week. Even though if it's a friendly, no, Man City will be starting to obviously get back into the swing of things as well and gear up for their season, so they'll have varying exploits that they want to tick off for a game. Result, I don't know if the result will really matter to them. They just want to get back into playing football, and somebody of their squad will come back for Euro, so it's just maybe game time for them. But it will see where we are, because some of our younger players, or if you want to call them fringe players, would kind of really do well with Celtic. So it will see where we are, and it will see where the fitness is, and a better pitch as well, as I imagine as well. So no, it'll be good to see. Again, it's just a bit unfortunate how late it is. A lot of people might be able to see it because how late it is, but it'll be good to play against Man City and see how we go against them. And it's just another step in the direction for obviously for Europe as well. And I don't know if you might want to try a formation against them that could maybe against Europe you could do, and it's a wee game to tweak for that. But I'm going to agree with Aaron that it might be a game where you could play your McGregors, your O'Reillys, and your Vickers. Vickers might get some game time as well. So, so I would say, listen, don't be too disheartened if we do get maybe a 3 or 4. But ideally, I don't want us to go and get hammered. Try and be competitive as we can. Put a performance in. Yes, the fitness is the most important, but I don't want us to walk out there with a battering, because after the performance the other night, you don't want to be bitter. Oh, beat off Man City friendly, no signings. You know it's going to give people things to talk about, JP. So ideally, we want a good performance. Try and get a victory if we can, but that is all about performance. But ideally, you don't want to be hiding. But I'd maybe expect Casper maybe get some minutes as well.
Yeah, could do. Alan, I also think that, but I mentioned that earlier as well, I'm on board with that as well. The kind of, as I've labelled it before with us in the chat, but the try before you buy route, like say with Bernardo. I know we didn't have the buy option either, but you know, we done it with Edward, we done it with Jota, we done it with Cameron Carter-Vickers. I know a lot of teams that are similar to ourselves who like to develop players and maybe got some assets themselves. They're not always going to let their potential stars go on loan before a club will buy them, but it seems to be a route that we went down, and it's worked well for us now on a number of occasions. So I'm definitely on board with that. If obviously that's what Ryan was saying could happen in terms of we play Man City and we kind of do similar to what Neil Lennon done before, and eyeing up Jeremy Frimpong and getting somebody of that ilk.
I'd be very on board with it if it's the right player. I think that's the most important thing. And it's very difficult.
Haaland.
You look at...
What's he up to?
I sent a message today at Borussia Dortmund. I'm looking at the boy we wanted on loan a couple of years ago, that Kuto, and they're looking at 20-25 million to buy him. So you're looking at the guy that went to, was it Ajax last year that we were linked with? Was it Borges? Went for 15 million to Ajax.
Yeah.
And he was in Man City's youth. So it is very, very difficult to pick up a player for that calibre aside that will be able to...
Paddy Roberts before as well.
Aye, but I think the levels between the finances of there's a bigger gap now compared to when we had kind of Paddy Roberts and even Frimpong as well. You look at the kind of money they're spending in South compared to us, even on young players. You look at that boy that went from Chelsea to Newcastle, was it Lewis Hall or something? Young boys, 30 million. There's been another couple like that this summer. So it's... I would love to have a kind of Man City player on loan that's got a lot of potential, but I don't see how viable it could be. It's just we're in a different level. But if it's something that we could do and we could be clever about, then so be it. But it will be. We'll be looking at probably the team sheet on Tuesday night and say, "Oh, Man City have really that good a team out." And then you start watching the game, you're like, "He's all right. He's all right. That young boy's all right." So it's
no, 100%, Alan, definitely.
I don't agree. I agree with the fact that the results no massively important. It's all about kind of fitness as well. But at the same time, when you look at a few years ago against West Ham, when we get a bit of a skeleton, the Parkhead, the Barcast dancing about the gold line and the round bit, that could be demoralising for a side as well, especially young players that are playing in that side. So it's not all about the result, but we don't want to get a proper battering either. So as long as we can get my fitness up and keep it a kind of reasonable, respectful result, keep it tight, happy days, and on we on with our own season.
See, you're talking about it, Alan, obviously, the money now in terms of for talks to be able to get somebody from Man City on loan and stuff. I don't know if you were hinting that maybe the wages might be high and stuff like that, right? But I know Dermot Desmond might have funded it, but years ago, 20 odd years ago, we were paying potentially 50, 45 grand a week for Craig Bellamy. Bobby Keane was 60, 50 grand a week. So it can be done. We can pay these wages if we need be for a certain player. But a lot of people tend to
do that now.
But we should. But how can you not do it now? But you can do it then when this is the biggest. So if there's somebody we like that potentially could get a loan for a decent sum of money, i.e. maybe £1 million loan fee. I know Nat Phillips could be in that situation, right, and it didn't work out. So I get the comparison when not to date and players who might not date, right?
We've had a good working relationship with Man City before,
so we could. I'd like to think that we are at a stage where, if need be, there's a special player out there, or Brendan thinks there's somebody that we could get for, if it's a season to help us in Europe, to bet, to add whatever he feels. I think we could, if it's an option to buy or an inkling in the summer, we'll speak to you, maybe give you a lesser fee, whatever it is. I think we can get a loan player or even pay somebody with these 40, if it's one player, because if you've done it for Robbie Keane and Craig Bellamy in the past, why can you do it now when you get the biggest financial bit you've ever had? I'm not saying...
I potentially think that's actually going to happen, right? I think that might be what needs to happen.
Is that a good point I made? I don't know if you think that's...
It's a very good point, mate. It's a great point, mate.
It's a great point with your opinion, but the question is, right, are Celtic capable of making a signing like that? Yes, I do think they are. Right? Will the Celtic board make a signing like that? I don't think so. I think times have changed. I can't see us pushing the boat out with that.
But times should be getting better because we're
I agree with you. They should be. I agree with you. 100% agree with you.
To be fair, football recruitment now is at a really, really tough position at the moment. Really tough.
But 100% agree with you, Ryan. I think we should be pushing the boat out, but I don't think this Celtic board have got the ambition that we probably should have, and that's just my opinion. But I just don't think we've got the ambition that we might have had when Bellamy or Keane come in, and that's a show-stopping signing. That was like people turning up outside Parkhead for that kind of signing late at night. So I would love to see it happen.
But
I think you're 100% right, but I don't know if it will.
How can we give a blockbuster manager at £3 million their wages, but no a player? I don't need to think ahead. No, I get that, but how can you share? I was just about to say, Alan. I know, I get what you're saying, but how can you share with that money to get the manager in, but no direct to one or two players to push you on? That's what I'm saying.
Celtic have changed their wages, though.
I'm just trying to use what you think. No, I get
it. But I just don't agree that the board will do that.
Celtic have changed the wage structure already, though. They've upped the wages and they've sold. You know, they've gave all our major assets on the side, some really good lucrative contracts there to try, obviously, entice the riches, to save them from the riches of other leagues like the Premier League and the Bundesliga or so on and so on. But I honestly I was just about to say it, but Francis has commented that I think we'll see Celtic starting to change as we go. I think, but the way Brendan's chatting now, I think the way to do this is he is going to give youth a chance as well. I do think that's the next, because we cannot keep our club going just by buying other players. But in certain positions you can, but eventually, like we've already seen, a lot of our B team players are going to move on elsewhere. Whether their careers take off or not is a different thing, but I do think the way he's talking, lads, that we're maybe going to see a kind of small batch of youth players coming in, like Alan mentioned earlier, the impressive Matthew Anderson. There is boys like Donovan, Bosun Lawwell's up for the big question mark above his head now because the
took after the weekend, didn't he?
Well, he came on and I think he was dispossessed about 6 times, if I counted that right.
He was letting the ball come to him. He wasn't running towards it.
He was waiting on it.
He was just waiting on the ball.
Yeah, 100%. And to be subbed on and then be subbed off in the same game. That unless there was an injury involved, but he jogged off the pitch, Ryan, like I told you. So it didn't look like he was injured.
He did
Unless I'm
mention,
wrong.
didn't he, Brendan? He did. Obviously, Holmes maybe had a wee bit of fire in his belly after the article that we seen,
Yeah.
but apparently he said to him and Holmes that there's talented players, but they need to do more. And a lot of people might think that I want us to have the best youth players to come in and through. And John made a good point as well. Is the coaches the best guy for the job as well to help these guys? Or do we need to bring in foreign guys or guys with more experience? Who knows? It's a big debate could have for a long time, right? But I feel that some of the youth guys, I just think the first team to the reserves or the B team, I just think it's massive. And I think to make an impact on this Celtic team, you need to be very, very, very good. So the boy Anderson might be very good. I've not seen enough for the boy to comment. Hopefully he gets a run now. Now we can maybe get a chance to see him. Brendan will know who's ready to step in, who's maybe ready to play. But for me, I think you need to be unbelievably good to make it at Celtic, i.e. if it's outside of your profession, if it's your eat and diet, how hard you work, because you've all the ability in the world, but if you're not going to work hard and do what the manager's asking and be a good teammate and everything else, you'll never be a football player at the highest level. And people talk about how well Bosun Lawwell done at Fleetwood. I get it, right? It's still a high level of football, full time. You still need to be dedicated and work hard, and that is a good level of football. But going from Fleetwood to Celtic is a total different stratosphere.
Yeah, it's a big level, Ryan.
It's the same when I said about John Suter. Brilliant with Hearts, but going from Hearts to Celtic is an unbelievable step up.
Here's a wee question for the two of you then. If you've got the option right now to play after just one game of seeing Matthew Anderson, if you had the option to continue the whole season with either Matthew Anderson backing up Greg Taylor or Alexandro Bernabe backing up Greg Taylor, who are you picking?
I've even seen the boy Anderson much, and I'm seeing Anderson because Bernabe's not really had enough to. So
Well,
that's
what we're talking
I think the fairest to be
thing.
fair, Alan, I think the fairest way of doing that there is we've seen Alessandro Bernabe numerous of times.
Yeah.
We've seen the boy Matthew Anderson on Saturday night going into Sunday morning, and it looked like he'd been playing. And Alan spot on, Ryan. I know you never got to see the majority of the game, but the lad looked like he'd been there for the last 4 or 5 years. He just looked so comfortable. He looked as if he knew everybody. He was, but again, he went out on loan to our feeder club in Austria, Wacker, and you know, it amazes you. You know, Callum McGregor once went out on loan to Notts County. These things need to happen in your path to becoming a first team player. I don't care what age you are. Look at Lamine Yamal. You know, if you're talented enough, you will play. It doesn't matter what age you are. And I'm not saying that young lad by any means. If anybody starts commenting, JP's just said Matthew Anderson's as good as Lamine Yamal. No, I didn't. What I'm saying is that's the example I'm giving of age and talent. If you have talent, then you will play. I don't think Brendan will have any hesitation whatsoever about trying a young guy. But getting back to your point there, Alan, I don't think he'll have any hesitation playing the lad Matthew Anderson over Alessandro Bernabe for the simple fact that he saw the lad Alessandro Bernabe numerous times, and yeah, it's been unfortunate that Alessandro Bernabe
Anderson hasn't got a driving license either, has he?
no, there's none of that coming back to. There's none of that coming back to bite you, of course. But listen, these are things we could go on and on and on. And again, you could probably just sit and do an actual podcast just on one of the topics, let alone starting touching on them all.
I know.
But yeah, lads, thanks again for coming on and having a wee chat and gracing us with your presence. Thanks to everybody else that's tuned in tonight. Thanks for all the comments. Thanks to the guys who attempted the phone in tonight.
Hopefully get that sorted soon.
Hopefully get that sorted soon, yeah.
We're all well then.
Plunge, I hope you can get your wee echo noise sorted for the next time, mate, if you want to come on and have a chat with the lads. Tam, if you're still watching or listening, mate, you can't swear, mate. I said that at the beginning. You just can't swear and you can't come on with your first point as your
see your NTS.
having a pop at one of the lads for no reason at all, especially herders.
Don't worry.
No,
But,
it's but we all know it's a
no,
laugh.
I know that. We all know it's a laugh and I carry on. And but thanks again, guys, for everybody that tuned in. Thanks again to Francis. Some good points tonight. We'll be back next week again with the dial-in. Hopefully, we can get some get some more callers in next week and keep it going. It's always good fun. By next week comes, we'll have played another 2 games, Man City and obviously Chelsea by then. There you go. We never even get. I actually feel just before we go, I actually never got a chance to see it. The boy Sina Salo made his debut for us in Saturday as well. He played the second half and he looks fairly comfortable with the ball at his feet. But again, we'll chat about him as we go. We need to see a wee bit more. I think so far he looks certainly more a better fit than Benji Siegrist, that's for sure. And he looked switched on as well. But thanks again, guys. We'll be back again this week with the Take Me to Your Paradise episode. So stay tuned for that. But for the time being, hail, take care, and enjoy your week with what's ahead, folks. Bye-bye.
Oh, you can't shove the goalie in the box. Oh, you can't shove the goalie in the box. Oh, you can't shove the goalie, cause he's a holy goalie. Can't shove the goalie in the box. The real Rangers were coming once again, they said. 3 in a row.